118 years ago today, at 5:12 in the morning, the great earthquake of San Francisco hit. It was 1906. The longest tremors lasted for 42 seconds. I just can't imagine being in a 7.8 Richter scale earthquake and enduring the aftershocks and the power of the earth just rolling underneath people. The earthquake, the epicenter was off the coast of California, still on the San Andreas Fault, and it was a terrifying experience for everybody who was here for it. And it was not that long after Easter Sunday. So everybody at Easter Sunday went into Grace Church, which is the building right behind me that's pictured in flames. It was a beautiful Easter Sunday, and you can just imagine everybody thinking, wow, this is one of the most beautiful Easter Sundays of our lives, walking out of the church and not realizing that it would never go back to that place that was so important to them ever again. It was a terrifying experience. About 90% of the destruction in terms of buildings happened as a result of fire rather than the actual shaking of the earth. It was a crazy thing. The people, the army who was running the Presidio and the army outpost that was in town was very worried about looters. So they came and they imposed a kind of martial law. They shot and killed many people. Some of them were actual looters. Some were just people who were just trying to take their own things out of their homes before they burned. They also presided over the dynamiting over massive sections of the city. They were hoping to set up a fire break, but instead what they did was create other fires. So many of those buildings that were dynamited would have otherwise survived the fire if it hadn't been for that human action. In many ways, the story of the great earthquake and fire of San Francisco is a story of how human beings made things worse. They made things worse in part by over-exaggerating the evil intentions of looters and rioters, by being so afraid of things being stolen that they stopped people from helping, and from thinking they could control something that was so great that they couldn't control. And in many ways, people were ready to help out and take care of their homes and to fight their own fires, but the authorities just didn't let them have that chance. Now, there were a few people who thought that if their houses burned, that they might get an insurance settlement, whereas if the earthquake hit, they would not get an insurance settlement. And those people who tried to cheat the system also paid a terrible price. The insurance companies went bankrupt. There are 410,000 people living in San Francisco in 1906. It was a massive city even then, huge outpost on the western part of the United States. And those people ultimately missed out too. But can you imagine? 2/3 of the people in this city lost their homes. People were in tents in the Golden Gate Park and anywhere where there was open space. Here at Grace Cathedral in Huntington Park, there were tents all around here. And I remember when I was a young priest and I was visiting an old woman, I think her name was Annie, and she was telling me about her personal memories of the 1906 earthquake. And she must have been about 5 or 6 when it happened. And she doesn't remember the terror and the terrible things. What she really remembered the most was how everybody pulled together and tried to help. She remembers the unique esprit de corps among all the survivors, how people tried to help the people who were around them and were really good neighbors to each other. It's so interesting to think that not only is it inaccurate to believe the worst of everybody all the time, but it can actually be damaging too. Human beings were made in the image of God. We are made to be good. At heart, we are good. We're capable of sin and evil, but we're basically good. And that's such an important thing to remember because it influences how we interact with one another, how we take care of one another. My name is Malcolm Clemens Young. I'm the Dean of Grace Cathedral here in San Francisco, California. Thanks for watching More Good News.